And welcome back to another episode of the On the Sideline podcast with Jackson and Kyle. I am Jackson, and I'm joined here, as always, by the man who is officially now going to be submitting his application to be the new head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. Kyle, how are you doing?
Doing good. I don't think I'll get hired, but we'll see what happens.
Hey, it's good. That maybe you'll get an interview. It's always good experience.
Yeah, always good experience. That is true. Do you think my three fantasy football championships will apply to the job well?
Wow. I mean, it can't. Listen. Them hiring someone just because they're an analyst, there's precedent for that.
Yeah. Do you think they hire Rich Bisaccia?
I mean, honestly, doesn't that just feels like, in hindsight, an awful move, right? We can even talk about this for a minute to start off the show. If you didn't hear, the Raiders fired just everybody. Everybody that was involved is pretty much gone at this point. GM, head coach, offensive coordinator. They had the choice. Do we go with Rich Bisaccia? Do we hire Josh McDaniels? In hindsight, Bisaccia definitely would have been the right call there.
Yeah, he would have been cheaper.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if it would have worked out or anything, but obviously he did good that, in that interim stint. It's tough. I mean, I don't blame them for moving on. Obviously, McDaniels probably his last head coaching job at the NFL level, I would assume.
The Patriots give him one.
Yeah. I think they've moved on to Gerard Mayo.
Okay.
So, yeah, I would imagine that it's probably his last head coaching stint. And yeah, I mean, at least in the NFL level. So yeah, I mean, I think it's I don't know if it would have worked if they did anything differently, but they took a swing, didn't work. I guess my question is, do you think this loss was the breaking point, or was it the Halloween costume? No, I'm just kidding. But do you think this game specifically, was the breaking point?
Yeah, let's talk. So it's good transition to talk about the game itself, because it was weird timing. I don't know if I've ever seen someone get fired at 1:00 on the East Coast. I don't know what happened there. Maybe possible it was. I'm assuming everyone knew about it beforehand, and then but I don't know, because then more announcements came the morning after. So just a weird timed situation. And for the Raiders, it was right after the trade deadline. They don't have a bye week, so it's a short week already, and now you're getting rid of everybody. Usually you wait until there's a little bit of a longer week. Odd timing. I don't know exactly why they decided to make this move now. Were they wanting a trade? Were they was ownership just so frustrated? Was Mark Davis so frustrated there's no trades that he made this move? I don't know. Weird.
Yeah, it all seems kind of bizarre. Like I said, I agree the timing, because if you're going to fire your GM, why give him the trade deadline to try and change things?
Right.
Which they didn't change anything, I think, right? I haven't gone through all the trade deadline stuff, but there was a lot of movement, so I need to get it all down. But yeah, I mean,
it's channel, Kyle. Plenty of videos up about all the trades and stuff.
Yeah, just plug in Jackson Kruger Sports. Make sure to watch all the videos. Yeah, I just think it's it's tough. It's tough. I agree. It's a weird situation, and I think giving him the trade deadline was weird. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Raiders galvanize a little bit, because that kind of tends to happen sometimes when coaches get fired. But bleak situation there right now for sure.
Yeah, maybe they're saying, hey, last time it went well, firing a coach in the middle of the season. Let's try it again, see how it goes. They made the playoffs after Gruden, I guess mutually parted ways was the official terminology there. The Lions were so much better than the Raiders in this game, and yet it still ended up only being a 12-point game. It was one of those weird situations. There was the pick six, the fumble at the goal line. Easily, this could have been a Lions blowout, and it still was. They still won by 12. Never really felt like the Raiders were going to have a chance. Garoppolo was bad in this game to the point where he's benched now. Garoppolo's not even a starter. Aiden O'Connell's going to come in. So they pay all this money for Garoppolo. He's not going to be playing. I mean, it's, the Raiders went from being stuck in mediocrity to whatever this is. Maybe that's better, but it's crazy how big of a hole they got dug in with Josh McDaniels.
Yeah. Then also, you're not gonna trade Jimmy Garoppolo now. You can't trade him. You're not gonna trade Devontae Adams now. It's just also weird how this all went down and how this played out. I agree. I don't mind moving on from Jimmy G. I've made my Jimmy G point fairly clear, I think. I think overall from the game, it was kind of a sloppy game for the Lions. Like you said, there's a couple turnovers there. they opened the game. They had that fumble early on, and it looked like the Raiders might be able to jump out to a lead. Garoppolo gave the ball away, of course, and then obviously the pick six. So yeah, this game was a little closer because it was a little sloppy from Detroit, but I mean, Detroit was just about better in every facet of the game too, so that also helps.
Yeah, Lions are really good. And hey, turns out when you give Jahmyr Gibbs the football, he's pretty good with it.
Yes, he looked explosive in this game. I was happy to see him. My fantasy team was happy to see him. It was overall a pretty good day for him.
Yeah, right. I remember you said that you needed a couple. You went on a very long talk about your fantasy team last week. There's multiple fantasy things you're talking about, Kyle. You're a big fantasy guy, apparently.
I'm not really that into it, but here we go. I guess I'm talking about it.
Yeah, I don't know. Trust me, if I ever did good in fantasy any year, then I would probably talk about it too. Fortunately for the listeners, they don't have to deal with that. I mean, Lions are really good. I don't really have a ton to say about them. They're really good.
Yeah. I was impressed again. I guess the question is when we talk about this Lions team going forward, we clearly have a pretty high esteem. The Ravens game, I'm willing to say, was a, kind of forget about a game, let down. What needs to happen between now and end of the season for you to really buy into the Lions? Do we need to see maybe one more playmaker step up? I mean, I know Amon-Ra's amazing. Sam Laporta's looked like a stud. Gibbs has a big day. Montgomery's had a big day. Do we need one more playmaker here? What do we still need from the Lions to be convinced that this team can win a Super Bowl?
I mean, it might be, I don't know, change the city they play in and the logo. That would probably make us feel better. Just the Detroit Lions, it's always going to be hard to buy into that team fully, I think. And just, Goff playing very well right now, but will he put it together for the whole season? So that's the, that's how you feel. That's my concern is mostly with this. And, is more so history than how they're actually playing.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, let's move on. Kyle, 5 points back. I have to say, who knows? This could be a wire-to-wire victory. You've yet to take the lead or even tie this game. Week 1, I took the lead. Haven't looked back yet. We're at the halfway point in the season, Kyle. You got some work to do.
Yeah, not too worried yet. Need to start making up some ground here. I think I'm primed for a big week. That's how I feel. So let's get right to it.
Okay, prime for a big week. I don't think I am because this feels like a tough week. A lot of interesting games. A great week. I mean, a lot of fun to talk about. But yeah, I mean, the game I have 10th on my schedule. I'm on my list. I'm yeah, that could go either way. There's so many good games. I believe there's 10 that are separated by 4.5 points or less. So or 3.5 points or less, I think. I guess there's 11 that are 4.5 points or less. Crazy close games. Kyle, why don't you give me one of them?
Yeah. So let's start it off. Let's stick with the Raiders. Let's go Giants at Raiders. First game off the deck.
Yeah, I'm disappointed I have to pick this one because this does feel like what's going to happen. I think I'm picking the Giants here. I just don't know how much I'm buying into the Aiden O'Connell hype. It seems like Daniel Jones could be back in this one. I guess so that would be good. Seems like if it's Daniel Jones and Aiden O'Connell, I do think the Giants are the better team and they should win this one. I don't think it's a great game. This isn't a game a lot of people are going to be watching, I don't think, unless you're a Giants or Raiders fan. But, that's why we're starting off the show with it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Start the show off with the big hitters here. This game, Max Crosby could have 18 sacks in this game.
He could.
He could go off, but I also think this Giants defensive line could go off in this game too. I know they just traded Leonard Williams, but they still have a bunch of guys on this team that can get after the quarterback. I think Dexter Lawrence is another guy who could take over this game too, just as easily. So I expect low scoring. I don't expect a lot, and I think it's going to come down to the last possession, and it could be like Devontae Adams has one big possession, and that's the difference in this game because I don't see either team moving the ball that effectively because A, the Giants defense is pretty good. B, the Giants offense hasn't been very good. And there's enough playmakers on the Raiders to give me some warning about, just feeling convinced that the Giants have better assets here. So yeah, I feel like this game's going to go either way. It's coming down to the last possession for sure.
But the weird thing about the Raiders too is we basically just wrote the eulogy for them at the start of the show. They're 3-5. It feels like it's not out of the question just record wise. If you win a couple games, I mean, if you're one of those Raiders fans who is still hoping you can make the playoffs, must-win game here.
Yeah, it's not out of the realm of possibility, but we have to see something from Aiden O'Connell this game. And we need to see a win here because you can't drop a game to the Giants and hope to make up the ground. We just did the whole AFC thing on Sunday, and, everybody basically 6 through 15 is separated by a game or so. So you can't drop games to teams like this and expect to make it.
We have Joe with the super chat. And the first game AP coaches is against his former team. I'd reluctantly take the Giants if Daniel Jones plays. AP coaches, what's that? Kyle, help me out.
Antonio Pierce. He's their interim head coach.
Right. Gotcha. These the bane of my existence is all of these everyone's just using initials now. How am I supposed to know AP? Like I already should be so aware of him that I just AP on top of my head. Oh right, Antonio Pierce.
Associated Press, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, if Danny DeVito's playing quarterback today, I am this weekend, I am completely on the other side. Bet the house on the Raiders. Raiders -1.5. If they got the quarterback who can't throw a forward pass and was also in Hercules, I'm betting the other side of this thing. So that is my warning to all Giants bettors here. Wait until Sunday.
Yeah, I saw on. I'm still hung up on the initials thing. I saw on Reddit someone referred to Josh McDaniels as JMD. It's like, what are you doing here, JMD? Like I'm supposed to know that's Josh McDaniels.
JMD. Huh? Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Yeah, drives me crazy. Yeah. What's your favorite? I guess favorite Danny DeVito thing has to be It's Always Sunny, right?
Yeah, I mean everyone seems to love that, so that makes sense. What else is he in?
Who's in Twins?
Danny DeVito. I gotta look this up now. That's gonna bother me.
Yeah, I'm not fully. There's a bit of a blind spot in Danny DeVito's filmography. I haven't watched all of it, unfortunately.
Batman Returns.
I don't. Have I seen that one? All the Batman ones, I can't tell them. Yeah. All the names are like so similar. I can't differentiate them.
Space Jam. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Oh yeah, I guess that's the best movie he's been in.
Yeah, probably.
Mm-hmm.
I know people really like that Jim Carrey Man on the Moon movie too.
All right. Well,
anyway, I don't know.
Covered that game nicely. Let's move on. When we're getting into when we're pulling up Danny DeVito's IMDb, I think it's time to move on. Kyle, I'm going to give you your team. Balls Patriots. Your Patriots are 3-point favored. Who's winning this one?
Oh gosh, I don't love this. I don't like this at all.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna lean Patriots because I think the Balls are frauds.
Okay,
but like, I wouldn't be shocked if Sam Howell wins a big game in this one.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this Patriots defense has been kind of up and down. I thought they did play well last week, but just without all their healthy guys at corner, I'm not 100% convinced or sold on these guys. I think Jack Jones and J.C. Jackson have been solid enough the last few weeks, so I think that's a pretty good duo. And I think that's enough to slow down Washington's offense. And with them trading their two best defensive players, I feel a lot better about the Patriots going into this game than I did a few days ago. So I'll take the Pats in this one.
Yeah, I like. There's a lot of now initials. Good old DDV, Danny DeVito. Also, I'm going to Balls despite the BB factor. So yeah, a lot of good initial talk in the chat. Yeah, I mean, well, so here's I think a big part of Washington. It's like they just traded away their two starting edge rushers, right? So if you missed that, yeah, Chase Young and Montez Sweat both for different teams now. I don't know who's going to step in and play on the edge. They still have a pretty good interior, but maybe that's the hope here for New England. Hopefully you can, hopefully Emmanuel Forbes gets some playing time and you can sort of attack that. Now, I still think New England's biggest issue is receivers, and I still think that that's kind of they still need to get guys who can get open because at the end of the day, even if you don't have the best edge rush talent, you are still going to get there eventually, right? So you have to, find ways to get guys open. And, this Washington defense has had its moments this season.
Yeah. And like you said, since they made some adjustments in their secondary personnel, I think it has gotten better. But it's still, it's still not a group I'm overly scared of. But like you look at the Patriots side, like Kendrick Bourne's now out for the year, and he's been probably their best receiver. So maybe expect to see a lot of Demario Douglas involved in this game. There's a few different things you can look at with this game. I think both teams just feel so uninspiring, right? Like it's really hard to get excited about either side in this game. But yeah, I mean, I think that there's a couple different things. It's Sam Howell going, for all we've rightfully criticized Bill Belichick for, it's a first-year starting quarterback going against Bill Belichick. And Sam Howell's not afraid to turn the ball over or throw the ball in some high-risk situations. I think the Patriots are going to put him in a lot of high-risk situations in this game. I think they're going to run the ball a lot, rely on that defense, even if it is a little banged up. There's still a lot of guys in this defense I think can make plays. Jabril Peppers, I've touched on a few weeks this year, putting together a fantastic season. Another guy who I think's put together a really good season, particularly the last few weeks, has been Christian Barmore. It seems like he's finally turned that corner that we've been expecting him to with his talent. So I think Patriots make enough plays defensively. Another one, I think it's pretty low scoring, could come down to the last possession, but I don't trust Sam Howell to take care of the ball enough in this game.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think the Sam Howell turnovers, that's where you have to be concerned. Also, someone referred to Mac Jones as MJ, doing still the initials thing. Do you like that? Are you going to start calling Mac Jones MJ?
If he starts playing well, I'll stick with it.
Okay. Yeah, sure. I like that. Hopefully he can earn the MJ moniker. Any final thoughts on this one?
No.
I know you could go an hour if you wanted, but
yeah, this is not going to be a fun game to watch. I'll just say that.
I'm going to like it. This is perfect for me. This is my kind of football.
The good news is that so we have our early game that's in Germany. How did they get that? How did the Germans get those games? That game?
Yeah.
what are we doing to give the crowds to Jaguars or something?
Right. London had to deal with the Jaguars for a decade every year, and now all of a sudden, Germany. I remember last year they got Seattle, Tampa Bay. This year they're getting these Germany. Really, NFL is trying to make sure things go well over there.
Yeah, they should get the Panthers or something for the next decade. Why are they getting anyway? So we have that game in the morning, and then we have Philadelphia, Dallas in the afternoon, and then a banger of a Sunday night game. The only reason to watch this game is because the morning slate's pretty weak around that. So that's the argument for it.
Yeah, definitely. I guess so. No, don't watch this one, everyone. There's other games on. Let's move on. Kyle, give me a game.
All right, couple really good games on the slate. I'm excited for a lot of these games, though. Honestly, there are some really contested games. You mentioned how close some of the spreads are in this week. I am going to give you Dallas at Philadelphia.
Dallas, Philadelphia. This one was a little bit lower on my list, but not because I think Dallas couldn't win. I am picking Philadelphia, but just because I think there's so many other close games. But yeah, I don't know. I'm sticking with the Eagles here. I am fascinated in this Cowboys defense that, when it's on, seemingly just destroys other teams. This special teams unit is getting a blocked field goal every game, it feels like. But at the same time, Philadelphia is a team that isn't going to make those mistakes that other teams make. We've talked about the Cowboys' run defense statistically being surprisingly good this season, but how is it going to fare against Philadelphia? That's a real question. And for this Dallas offense, kind of a real test here. So when we saw Dallas go up against San Francisco, we were like, okay, real test for Dallas. They got smoked. Now they then smoked the Rams, who I feel like are at least I don't know, maybe not a test, but a quiz, right? There's something there. And now they're back with another real test. I think I have to pick Philadelphia, but there's definitely upset potential here.
Yeah, definitely upset potential. I do think Dallas might be able to throw on them. Is this game going to be decided in the first 15 minutes? We touch on this every time with Dallas, but it also feels true for Philadelphia. Is this game going to be decided right away?
Yeah, these are two of the best teams with the lead in football. So unless it's close, then no. But if one team gets up to a 10-point lead early on, it almost feels like it's over.
Yeah. There are a lot of things to like about Dallas in this matchup, though. I do think that CeeDee Lamb and, just some of the stuff he does really well can kind of beat this zone defense for Philadelphia. If Tyron Smith is able to play, I mean, he didn't practice today, but if he's able to play, the Philadelphia defensive line advantage doesn't feel so significant, right? Because this Dallas offensive line is pretty good when
Mhm.
everyone's healthy.
Yeah.
So, there's guys who can create turnovers. You have what they didn't have before in the past when it comes to AJ Brown. They have Stephon Gilmore there that I can at least make him work for it. He's not, he's still probably going to get his yards. There's a lot here to really like about this Dallas team in this matchup. But it is Philadelphia. It does feel like that they still have the advantages. And, Jalen Hurts is going to make some big plays, I think, in this game, and that's probably the difference.
Yeah, and I feel like for whatever reason, Dallas fans are, don't get mad at me when I trash their team, despite the fact that I've consistently trashed their team. I think that they just get trashed by so many other places that they're just kind of used to it. But you want people like me to stop disrespecting you. This is the game you go and win. Go out and win this game and prove that you're a championship contender. This is a great opportunity. I think that I don't think these are two teams with really good pass rushes. In fact, is it a hot take to say the Cowboys pass rush is better than the Eagles pass rush? I don't know. I feel like they're both really good, but both can rush the passer at a high level. And I do think that the fact that these teams both have really good offensive lines kind of, negates that in a lot of ways. So you don't have the pass rush that's going to matter as much. And it's going to come down to, I think in a lot of ways, we talk about this Deron Bland thing. All of a sudden, he's coming in and getting a pick six every game. Well, this is the real test for him, I think. I think Philadelphia is going to try him, and I do wonder how that's going to go.
Yeah, he's going to get tested in this game, and I don't think it's controversial to say that Dallas's pass rush is as good as Philly's. But yeah, I do think they're going to go after him. Devontae Smith, he's kind of had an up and down season. This is a real opportunity for him to go after a corner who, it's not Trayvon Diggs out there anymore. So we'll see if Bland is up to the challenge, even though he's put together a really good year. You did mention the pass rushes are very similar in comparison. They might be 1-2 in the league, depending on which order you have. I guess the one thing that is the variable here is, we've talked about this Dallas run defense. The interior with Mozzie Smith, Jonathan Hankins, they've kind of tried to plug in this position for years and haven't really found the answer for it. And when you look at this Dallas run defense, is there going to be enough against this Philadelphia team where that probably feels like the biggest advantage, right? This Philadelphia running game against the run defense of Dallas.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's, and again, it's going to come down to, in many ways, if Dallas can get out to a hot start, quick lead, when it maybe feels like they have to throw the ball more. Maybe they aren't able to run the ball as much. And again, same thing, vice versa. I don't know. It should be a really interesting game, I think.
Yeah, this is definitely one to tune into. Both of these teams, like you said, looking to deliver some statements here. I'm excited. These are the kind of games to get hyped up for. So yeah, everyone strap in for this one.
Yeah. Are you hoping that the Cowboys win? So your preseason take every year of how the Cowboys are getting disrespected will finally look good?
The funny thing is I don't even go to bat for the Cowboys that much. I just like them more than you do. So that's the only difference.
Probably fair.
I'm not even banging the table saying this is a Super Bowl contender. I think that they are closer than you think. That's all.
Yeah, probably fair enough. It should be an interesting game though, regardless. And I don't know. I was impressed with them Dallas last week, so we'll see what they can do. All right, time for me to give you a game. I gave you your team. Now I'm going to give you my team. Buccaneers, Texans. The Bucs, underdogs. How dare they be underdogs against the Texans, who just lost to the worst team in football, but definitely are scrappy. This Houston team. Who do you have winning?
I don't feel good about this one at all. I'm going to take the Texans.
Okay.
I realize everything to be concerned about here. This Tampa Bay secondary is good. Todd Bowles likes to eat young quarterbacks alive and spit them out. All this stuff is very much true. The difference is I trust CJ Stroud to make less mistakes than Baker Mayfield. And I think this game's going to come down to mistakes. Tampa Bay's offense the last 4 games has been very poor. And you've highlighted some of those issues that teams are now playing just like 2 deep safeties. They're not letting Mike Evans and Chris Godwin just beat them over the top on plays, specifically Mike Evans on those plays more so. And this offense has struggled. I think they've been figured out. They've looked terrible the last 3 weeks. I think this offense has been figured out big time. And I don't know if they know how to adjust, because I don't think Baker can adjust much to his game. So give me the Texans.
Yeah, and I think they were kind of figured out like before this even started. I think the teams kind of knew
Yes.
right away how to play this Buccaneers offense. It's not great, not a great situation going on. I get it, and like part of me does want to be like, well, Todd Bowles against a rookie quarterback, but it's like you look at, like the Ravens know how to handle rookie quarterback. Stroud wasn't a mess there, although it wasn't great offensively, but like wasn't a mess. Pittsburgh, he was able to hold his own there. So like, yes, that's true. And Todd Bowles is definitely going to show some things I think Stroud hasn't seen yet. I think that's the hope if you're Tampa Bay. But like, it is a concerning thing of when you're saying, well, hopefully our defensive play calling is what wins us the game. Like, that's not always how that works. Yeah, I mean, this Buccaneers offense has been terrible, except for when the Bills are committing penalties every fourth down.
Yeah. It's really tough to say, because like you said, Stroud has continued to check the boxes where eventually we just kind of have to trust him a little bit, right? Like he's gone and played well against Baltimore. He beat Pittsburgh. Who else did he beat? Another good defense. And yeah, I don't think it was his best game last week against Carolina, but he also didn't make mistakes in that game. Like, he didn't have any backbreaking mistakes in that one. And at this point, Baker's probably good for 1 or 2 mistakes a game. So if it comes down to that, I think the Texans can take advantage. DeMeco Ryans is obviously a very good defensive coach too, and he's had this Texans defense playing well a lot of the season. So yeah, I think that's where I think that's where the difference in this game is that CJ Stroud has shown us that he's not going to, at the bare minimum, he's not going to make mistakes in games, and I have to trust that right now.
I see Kyle is now typing in the chat as well. So everyone, if you want to get Kyle's attention in the chat, make sure you spread fake rumors about us being related, and then you can get him to respond. For the I can see you typing.
I know.
Yes, what it do, baby? Okay. Yes. What was I going to say? Right. The Texans defense has EPA per play wise been better than Tampa Bay's defense this year. Kyle, is this a loser leaves town game?
No, because Tampa is not out of the division race, even if they lose. That's the thing. I don't know if Texans are in town, but it'd be really hard to make up the ground if they lose another game.
So. They're at least, within driving distance of town.
Yeah. Yeah, they're like they're in Lakeland to Orlando sort of setup.
Yeah.
They're someone with a better suburban area landscape can come up with a better example than I just did. But yeah, I mean it's within driving distance, but I don't know if there are probably 10 teams I'd list before Houston as far as making the playoffs.
Yeah, probably. But if they lose this one, it's almost over.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, and again, Tampa Bay, we want to say, well, it's the division. They still have to play San Francisco and who else is it? I'm trying to remember the other team they have to play, but there's two good teams they still have to play that no one else has to play because of just this, winning the division last year. So it's tough.
Yeah, I agree. So interesting game for sure.
Yeah, I think it might be, or it was actually they already played those two. They only lost to the Eagles and the Bills. That was what it was. But yeah. Anyways, let's move on. Kyle, give me a game.
All right, time to give you another game. Another game that I don't really want to pick, so I'm giving it off to you. Minnesota at Atlanta.
Okay, Minnesota, Atlanta. Kyle, we are just starting off the show with all of the best games. You know what? I don't hate this. I don't hate this. I'm gonna lock up the Atlanta Falcons. I'm buying into the Atlanta Falcons a little bit. I think that I'm an Atlanta Falcons defender all of a sudden. I didn't expect this scenario to happen, but I don't know. They played okay. Like, everyone's acting like it was a disaster against the Titans. Taylor Heineke came in. The offense looked much better. He's going to start, which I wouldn't feel great about this lock if he wasn't going to start. But the fact that he's going to start, Minnesota has not looked great this year. They haven't looked terrible, but when you factor in Kirk Cousins is now injured, like, we're going to have a quarterback who's, complete unknown here for Minnesota. Atlanta's defense has been very good. Yes, Will Levis just lit him up, but it has been very good. I think that Atlanta has a bounce back week. I think they cover 4.5 points.
I like the pick. I don't know if I'm like 100% convinced on it. Obviously, the tough thing is going to be who's at quarterback for Minnesota. How ready are they? I don't. The Josh Dobbs thing felt like the most uninspiring play for trading for a deadline quarterback. And I don't know who was available, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't think that moves the needle that much for me based on, what they had. I guess he's probably better than Jaron Hall, sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know how much it moves the needle for me as far as like convinced that Minnesota just saved their playoff hopes this season. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. Who knows? But yeah, I mean, it's a tough spot. It's a really tough spot for Minnesota. I do like that. I'm not 100% convinced just because I do agree with you that I do agree with you that where was I going with this? Atlanta has played better than people are saying, but
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, like I still don't think it's a great team. Like it's a team that it's really tough to bet on. It's really tough to bet on this team because week to week we don't know what we're getting, which is probably just because it's a young team. But yeah, I mean it's certainly a frustrating team at times.
Yeah, everyone's turned on Arthur Smith. I didn't realize this. I was just like online today, and I was like, oh, I guess everyone hates Arthur
Turning
Smith
on
now.
him. He was
Yeah,
turned on last year when he stopped giving their guys the ball.
I mean, there was criticism with Arthur Smith, but I feel like he wasn't like people. I feel like people are talking about him now like he's Brandon Staley.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think he's as bad, but I also think like the nonchalance he carries, like kind of attitude he carries when he goes in these press conferences and they're like, why aren't these guys getting the ball?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think it's helping. I I don't know. I don't really know what to think of this like whole scheme. That week to week it's kind of varies on if they're going to get their guys involved or not, and that's the weird part.
I mean, can I give my take on all this? Uh,
Yes.
good. I'm glad I'm allowed to do that on the podcast. It's hard to get your best players the ball when you don't have a quarterback who can throw the ball.
Yes.
I think the biggest issue, make no mistake, is that Desmond Ridder has been the quarterback for this team.
I would agree with that.
And now the biggest issue for this team will be that Taylor Heineke is the quarterback for the team.
Is he starting this week? Is that what's happening?
I believe I saw that was confirmed.
Okay.
What do you think about that? He was definitively better last week. In the one game we've seen them both play, Heineke was better.
Yeah. I'm not convinced that's going to last the whole season, but we'll see.
Well, yeah. I mean, Heineke's known for being up and down, but at least there's the upside with him, I suppose.
Yeah, I still think there's upside to Ritter. Like, I'm not convinced that Ritter is like a
there?
long-term answer, but like, he still, I think, throws the ball pretty well. He just, turns it over a lot, and that's the problem. I don't know. It's tough.
If you get
tough.
past the 3 turnovers a game, he's pretty good.
Yeah, Ritter did not earn himself the job. That's the conclusion. I don't think Taylor Heineke deserves the job.
Yeah. Joe says Heineke is a poor man's Favre, a pretty poor man's Favre. I think that's like I don't know when like those movies that are like knockoffs of the other movie that are like $5 you used to find at the gas station. That's Heineke too far.
I just love that any guy who makes like some reckless throws is like compared to Favre. Like Favre didn't have like one of the 5 generationally talented arms of all time,
Mm-hmm.
and that kind of made up for it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's okay to be reckless if you're gonna, if you're just gonna throw ducks out there. Obviously, it's not gonna go as well.
Yeah, it's like him and every tall quarterback gets compared to Roethlisberger. Like that's like those are the two guys that just if you gunslinger, you're Favre. If you're tall, you're Roethlisberger. And then I guess now it's if you are a pocket passer, you're Brady.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a semblance of pocket presence, you are the next Tom Brady. Congrats.
Yeah, exactly. Let's move on. Kyle, enough with these games. Enough with this. Let's finally get one of these. We hyped up this week only to pick all of the dumbest games to start this show. Bills, Bengals. This is the one where Sunday Night Football, one of the games we're all here to talk about. Who do you have winning it?
Cincinnati. I got Cincinnati on a lock. Lock it up. I'm giving Cincinnati under field goal. And I think they're just a flat out better team. I think it's a better matchup. And we've seen these two teams play multiple times over the past couple of years. I know that one was stopped because of the obviously the DeMar Hamlin situation, but I haven't seen a single situation where I think Buffalo is going to win this game. I think Cincinnati, every time they play them, they look significantly better. They move the ball with relative ease. Buffalo is missing several of their good guys in the secondary and linebacker. Give me Cincinnati. Cincinnati's winning this game. They're a better team. They're a better matchup. Cincinnati.
Yeah, I can understand it. Also, we have a super chat. I'm taking Dallas over Philadelphia. Cowboys offense finally clicked against the Rams. I have a feeling they're going to make major strides in the late season. We'll see, Zach. Again, but I've heard that story before, and then usually it goes wrong. That's why I'm a little hesitant.
Yeah. We'll see. Maybe this is the one Dallas turns the corner and comes up with a big win. They did beat them last year at the end of the season when they needed it, but we'll see.
I think the thing with Buffalo is you're right. Every single time these teams play, it is, it seems like the Bills don't even belong there. Now, granted, obviously last year there was the DeMar Hamlin thing, but Cincinnati was looking good before that happened. And then obviously in the playoffs, it was just abysmal. So the Bills added Rasul Douglas, which I love that trade by them. I can't believe and people are talking about like it's the dumbest thing in the world. Like it's like people are acting like they got a 3rd round pick. The Packers did. They didn't. The Packers gave up a high 5th round pick to get a low 3rd round pick. They moved up from basically spot 100 to spot 145. Like it was not a good. They barely moved up anything for that. Really good stuff. I think for that trade. Don't know if it's going to matter this week, though. I don't know how much I'm expecting Douglas to come in and play just because, have to learn the system. And Douglas's whole thing is like how well he understands the defense and understands what his teammates are doing. So, that's just going to take time. So, yeah, I agree. I have Cincinnati winning. But, Buffalo is a good team. And, what Josh Allen showed last week, Josh Allen probably is, even with his inconsistencies, having a better season than Joe Burrow right now. Granted, Joe Burrow was also amazing last week. But it's so I think that's kind of the intrigue. And part of why it might be a dangerous lock is just what if you get Josh Allen when he's on?
Yeah, and that's always the concern with Buffalo. But I also think Josh Allen was definitely on last week against a good defense, and they won by 6. I just don't.
They won. It was a very misleading score, I thought.
To an extent, yeah, but I don't know. I just don't think this is the same Buffalo team. I don't think they have the same talent around them, especially with Milano out and Trey White out. I just can't trust this defense. And like you said, they single-handedly kept Tampa Bay in that game because they couldn't stop committing penalties. I don't trust any of these guys in the secondary. I said it last week with Teron Johnson. There's a couple guys in this defense that just love to commit penalties, it feels like. And I just don't trust it. I don't trust it. And never mind that they're going to face a really good receiving core, probably the best receiving core they faced all season outside of Miami. I don't trust it in this game.
Their safeties are good.
Yeah. I think it's decent, but their corners are going to get thrown at. And they're going to get thrown at in a lot
Jordan
of
Poyer and Micah Hyde. Come on. One of the best safety tandems in the league.
Okay, yeah. I mean, they're good, but at the same time, they're going to set up one-on-one situations against these corners, and they're going to throw at their guys. And their guys are better than Buffalo's guys.
I get it. Cincinnati should be favored to win this game. I fully agree. Are we going to see, T. Higgins? We saw some flashes from him. Interested in seeing him, again, want to see more from him this season. Is doing the opposite of what you typically do in a contract year. Hopefully for Cincinnati, he can really get going in this one.
Yeah. This Cincinnati team, it seems like every year there's just another guy that pops up. Last year they really got Hayden Hurst involved in the offense. He's obviously gone, but it's been like this Trenton Irwin, I feel like comes up with a big play every game. They have 3 or 4 guys consistently that can make some big plays.
I think Jamar Chase and T. Higgins will have more of an impact than Trenton Irwin.
Well, that's what I know, but it just seems like there's always depth of talent with this team too. Yeah. It's not just the 2 guys, is what I was saying.
Yeah, and obviously, he's in a position to succeed with the attention that those guys get, which so credit to him for taking advantage of it. Let's move on. A lively discussion about that one. Kyle, give me a game.
Let's go with what's next on my list here. I didn't organize this very well, I guess. I guess I got to give you this game next. Miami at Kansas City.
Yep, was next on my list as well. How do we feel about this game being the Sunday morning game? Because obviously it's such an exciting game. I don't know. I kind of would. It feels like I want to watch this one at a normal time.
You big breakfast guy?
Not really. No. In fact, I usually don't even eat breakfast, but every now and then.
Might be a good day for some pancakes, eggs,
I
bacon.
hate. I'm not a pancakes. Pancakes. I don't get. I don't get it. I don't understand. What are we doing here? We're gonna start the day off with sugar, and then it'll just feel like garbage for the whole day.
It's not sugar. You don't have to put syrup on it.
Oh, you're just gonna eat a plain pancake?
You can put some butter on it.
Okay, but that's still not exactly. I don't know, like eggs and bacon and toast. That's my breakfast.
What do you put on your toast?
Well, I put some butter on it, but I don't have. It's not a giant thing of the pancakes. I feel like are first off, the idea that you're gonna make pancakes and not put syrup on it is insane to me. If you're making pancakes, you're putting syrup on it.
I don't know about that. I don't think it's necessary. But
Okay.
anyway, uh, yeah. I mean, I like the idea of maybe whipping up some breakfast. Sitting down watching the game
Donuts
with my
make no sense
coffee.
either. Why are we eating donuts? Just like have like, oh, let's just have just this sugary pastry for breakfast.
Donuts are a staple, man. I don't know.
Donuts are great. They're great tasting, and then but like it's not. It's not going to give me fuel for today.
What about a nice like bagel sandwich?
Bagel sandwiches are great. 10 out of 10. Huge fan.
Yeah, I think I could go. There's a place over here called Shugs that's nearby. That's pretty good. Maybe I can grab that in the morning.
TG says Jackson is anti-donut. I'm pro-donut, but donuts should be a food that we eat at night. But we don't eat them at night. We eat them in the morning. It makes zero sense.
You got some insane breakfast takes, man. That's what I gotta say.
I'm just saying, why do we do? If someone was eating a slice of chocolate cake in the morning, people would be like, "What are you doing? What an insane decision to make!" But yet, when it's in a circle, everyone is like, "Ah, great, you have any more? I'd like some, please." And we sell them. We sell them in 12. Why are we selling them in 12? Why are you? Why do we need so many? Why are you giving them all your friends at work so that they can also be tired all day?
Do you really get that tired from one donut?
Yeah.
Huh.
Well, if it's all I've eaten, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. This is a take. I think it's a I like donuts. I like pancakes. I don't mind any of it for breakfast. There's a big avocado toast place by me. Are you pro avocado toast?
Yeah, pro avocado. Of course, yeah, that makes sense. You get carbs, you get like natural fats. That's what I want in the morning.
Okay, well that's good at least. All right.
I think here's my thing is like I feel like when if I'm eating in the morning, it's because like I'm doing something. Like if I'm actually making an effort to do something, and like if I'm doing that, then I want to feel good while I'm doing that.
Yeah. So what is your go-to? What is it like your quick breakfast? If eggs, bacon, and toast is your normal breakfast, what is your quick breakfast?
I really my quick breakfast is I stop someplace for breakfast. I'm not a breakfast guy. Or I'll just eat like something normal. I'll eat like a sandwich for breakfast. This is again, people are not gonna like this take, but yeah, I'll eat like just lunch food for breakfast. Why is that weird?
Yeah, I don't know. I typically do yogurt and coffee, so
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like what's accepted as breakfast makes zero sense for how we actually eat. Like nothing. Like it doesn't like what we've decided. These are the breakfast foods. It should not be the accepted breakfast foods, with the exception of a few.
yeah, I don't know. Donuts have carbs too. It's all about fuel, man. That's all it is.
Okay. Well, anyway, before everyone unsubscribes for my awful breakfast takes, I get it. I almost clicked off the Dolphins Chiefs game. How funny would it be if we didn't even cover the game? We just did that and moved on from like the main game everyone's talking about. This should be an incredible game. I agree. Get whatever you want for breakfast. Lunch food for breakfast. What? Why is that weird? Why is that? You can't explain why that's weird. It just seems weird. That's everyone's breakfast take. Anyway.
Yeah, it's conventional wisdom. It's okay. It's okay. You don't have to be against the grain on everything.
I'm trust me, I don't do this to be against the grain. This is just how I live my life, and everyone makes fun of me for doing it.
I love the idea of you with just like a big like lunch salad for breakfast while everyone's eating like normal food. Oh boy.
Yeah. Okay, some people are on my side. I agree sandwiches for breakfast should be more popular. Yeah, that makes I gotta stop this. We're gonna be here all day if I don't move on. Kyle, this game should be incredible.
Really like the matchups here. Really want to see Kansas City off a loss. Miami, can they finally secure that big win that everyone's waiting for? How does this receiving core match up against Kansas City's secondary? Can this offensive line hold up against Kansas City's defensive line? Can Patrick Mahomes dice his team as it looks like he should? Can Jalen Phillips dominate Jawan Taylor? Yes, he can. All of these matchups I think are really interesting.
Yeah. Oh, well, you're not a big Jawan Taylor guy?
Shocking, no. I'll take Jalen Phillips in that matchup. What about you?
Yeah, I think so. I think that I'm interested in. Here's what I'm interested in. Jalen Ramsey coming back looked very good against the Patriots, but that's not exactly, with all due respect, the hardest offense to look good against. How is he going
How
to look
dare you?
against Kansas City, who was coming off of a really rough week? I mean, that was obviously terrible by the Chiefs, and we've talked about how their offense still hasn't looked as good as we've seen it look in years past. Defense looked amazing. Excuse me, defense looked amazing, but this is a very complete team. But we do kind of want to see this offense go off, especially if Miami's offense can get going.
Yeah. It'll definitely be interesting. Do you think Jalen Ramsey lines up on Travis Kelce in this game? Or do you think I know it's not the conventional like Vic Fangio thing to like play man to man a lot, but do you think that's a lineup that they consider?
Maybe at times. I don't think it's going to be. I wouldn't expect it to be a common thing. That's just not how they typically. That's not how most teams do things. But I could see it on like a big third down. Sure, I think it would make sense.
Yeah. Are you a burger and fry guy at 6:30 in the morning?
Yeah, I am Patrick Star at 4 in the morning, setting my alarm so I can eat my Krabby Patty then.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. No, I'm also not. I don't eat breakfast that much. People, leave me
Yeah.
alone. I just want to eat my avocado toast and be fine.
I have a buddy who loves brunch but hates breakfast food. So he
Okay.
goes to brunch and orders like the biggest burger and fries every time and just drinks a mimosa with it. I judge him a lot.
I do have to say, when I go to brunch, I very rarely get breakfast food.
Yeah. But it's not like a breakfast burger. It's like just a normalized burger.
Yeah, I feel like I've probably done that before.
Yeah. Anyway, back to this
breakfast
game.
burgers are good. We can all agree on that, right? Breakfast burgers are good. Yeah. Okay.
Of course.
Finding some common ground here. Yes. Yeah, we're all on the same page. Of course, a Tampa Bay fan would think this way. Oh, how dare you, Joe? Yeah. I'm interested in also, again, the Tyreek Hill factor. This Chiefs defense looked very good, but I mean, again, Miami's different. Miami has a different way you have to try and defend against them. We'll see if they can do it.
Yeah, I mean, Trent McDuffie, I think, has put together a very good season. This is going to be his biggest test of the year. This Kansas City team's fast, too. Like, I think it's an underratedly fast defense across the board. So I am interested to see how that kind of plays out. But, yeah, I mean, it's a different kind of speed when dealing with Miami. So there's a lot of variables to this game. I think Kansas City has the edge because I like their defense a lot more. And I think that they might actually be able to cover Miami better than we think. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. And I just think Mahomes is not going to have two horrible games in a row. Now, granted, not all of that was his fault last week. In fact, very little of that I think last week was his fault. But I don't think he's going to have two bad games in a row. So I like Kansas City.
Yeah. Ben in the chat brings up Chris Jones against the Dolphins offensive line. Yeah, that's another big thing. I can't remember if I said it already, but yeah, I'm picking the Chiefs to win this one as well. Definitely should be fascinating. This could be for the 1 seed. It really could be. I mean, there's a 4-way tie for the 1 seed now, but this definitely could be, winner of this could end up as the 1 seed because of this win.
Yeah. I mean, Miami has a really favorable schedule down the stretch.
Okay.
They do end the season with Dallas, Baltimore, and Buffalo, so that's tough. But like their next 5 games after this, they should be heavily favored in. So yeah, we'll see.
We'll see indeed. Let's move on. Kyle, Titans Steelers, the game that's on tomorrow. Kenny Pickett versus Will Levis. Who would have thought we'd be excited to see that quarterback matchup? I guess at least, I don't know. Who would have thought we'd be more excited to see Will Levis at this point in the season than Kenny Pickett? Should be a fascinating one. Steelers are 3-point favored. Where are you going?
Oh, man. I am leaning Pittsburgh, but I don't feel thrilled about it. I think that Pittsburgh is the better team. I think that their defense should be able to win in this game. We'll see how Will Levis handles that defense. Like you said, I mean, he checked every box in week 1. Not a lot of those throws look particularly challenging. So I can't fault him too much for it because he made the throws he had to, and he made really good throws. His arm talent is as impressive as shown, but there's just going to be a different level of animal with defense. It's going to help that Minka Fitzpatrick isn't playing in this game. That should help him tremendously going against this defense, but it's going to be a tough matchup. It's a tough matchup for any young quarterback. I know CJ Stroud handled it really well, but we'll see how Will Levis does. So I got Pittsburgh in a really close one, just not overly convinced that Will Levis is going to have an awesome game, 2 games in a row.
I mean, Will Levis is 100% just going to keep throwing up jump balls to DeAndre Hopkins this game, right? Like that's just all he's going to do. And like, how well can Pittsburgh defend it? I don't know. He might not be a terrible strategy in this one.
Yeah, that just not overly convinced with these Pittsburgh corners, right? Like that's probably their biggest weakness on this defense, and it may be an opportunity for Hopkins to go up and get some balls. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how that matchup plays out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know who you put on. Like, I can't imagine. Patrick Peterson versus Hopkins. I mean, that could be what the combined age is like 130 with those two guys.
Yeah, that is an old duo.
Mm-hmm.
Young Patrick Peterson, I'd be like, yeah, sure, put him out there, see what happens. But I don't know about this one.
Yeah, and like you said, the Fitzpatrick being banged up. I mean, the hope for Pittsburgh is what you hope every week, and it works out a good chunk, which is you pressure the opposing quarterback a lot, get him to make some mistakes, and again, not the worst strategy here.
Yeah, Watt and Highsmith are going to be coming, so that'll be tough. I mean, obviously, Tennessee can minimize that by how much they run the ball, and if they run it effectively, and Derrick Henry has a big game, that's going to minimize a lot of what Watt and Highsmith can do getting after the quarterback. But yeah, I'm just leaning. It's just so tough to bet a rookie in. Is it still called Heinz Field? What the heck's the stadium called now? Anyway, not important. In Pittsburgh, I think that's just really tough to bet on, and I don't feel good about betting that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what Pittsburgh has to do to get to 500. So they're going to need 5 more wins here. They still play Green Bay, that's a win. They still play Arizona, that's a win. They play New England, that's a win. They play, it gets a little bit tougher there. They might need to pull this one out to get to 500. Also,
here's the thing though, like we bet against Pittsburgh will lose to Arizona, but somehow beat Cincinnati twice to make it to 500 because that's what Pittsburgh does. So
you're right.
Anyway,
yeah, overlap 618. Attention, this is overlap. I have secured my second mortgage funds, and I need your lock of the week. Kyle says, what was it? Kyle said
Cincinnati -2. Lock it up, baby.
And I said Atlanta. What's worse? Always a good move to spend your mortgage on the
Taylor Heineke.
Taylor Heineke. That's what you got to do.
Yeah, that's it. That's a bold choice. I like Cincinnati a little bit more.
Okay, maybe so. And I think I like Pittsburgh a little more in this matchup, but I can totally see the upset potential here. Yeah. Again, Malik Willis is a complete unknown. Looked good week 1. We are the underreaction podcast. I feel like we don't freak out over one good performance because we've just seen it happen a million times where a guy comes in, plays well 1 week, and then struggles. But certainly, if you're a Titans fan, you're excited for this one.
Yeah, this is probably the most excited you felt about your quarterback in like 4 or 5 years. So maybe even longer since that first Mariota game. So not to take away from it, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Only other thing I would say is we did call last week on this show. We said which team feels like there's no chance they can make the playoffs, but then could end up making the playoffs. And then we kind of jokingly said, oh yeah, of course the Titans will find a way to do it. Feels a little bit more possible now.
Yeah. I don't know if they're going to catch Jacksonville, but they can certainly make the playoffs still.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if Malik Willis, or excuse me, I feel like I've been saying Malik Willis a lot. Will Levis, the names confuse me. If Will Levis is, really this guy, then it can totally happen. But yeah, any final thoughts or want to move on?
No, we can move on because we got a great game on deck here that I'm going to give you, and that is Seattle at Baltimore.
Yeah, Seattle-Baltimore. I was surprised by this line. I also had it a little higher on my list. Ravens are 6-point favored. I am going to pick Baltimore to win this one. But yeah, I mean, disrespectful to Seattle. I'll say that. Like, Geno Smith, what a weird game he had last week, right? Where, like, he was basically the reason why they scored, like, all of their points, but was also, like, the reason on the drive that didn't get going, why they couldn't get going. So, like, he's having such an up and down start to this year, but I still think he's pretty good here. I don't know. I think the offense could be able to put up some points against Baltimore. There's going to be one-on-one matchups. There's opportunities to hit DK Metcalf on the outside for Seattle. But I also think that I do trust this Ravens offense a little bit right here to be able to mix and match. I don't know if Leonard Williams week 1 is going to make a huge impact, although for defensive linemen, you can kind of just play, right? Like, you don't have to, there's not as much of a playbook you have to learn. Still stuff you have to learn, of course, but you can kind of just go out there. So that should be interesting, but I am picking Baltimore to To win, I'm picking Seattle +6 though.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think the big thing with me in this game is Seattle can cover now, and it looks pretty good.
Yeah.
I've really liked their coverage unit the last few weeks. Granted, it was PJ Walker last week, but I think over a larger sample size, they have looked good. So yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see how they match up against this suddenly diverse Ravens passing attack. There's all these options that we've talked about this season. So it's I think that I think it's going to be a fascinating one, and I think that there is a good chance that Seattle could pull off the upset. I think they have some of the keys to win this game.
Yeah, I think it's totally possible. And there was reports that apparently the Ravens were willing to give up a 3rd-round pick for Josh Jacobs. The Raiders wanted a 2nd-round pick, and that's why the deal did not end up happening. So, probably the right move to not give up a 2nd-round pick for Josh Jacobs. Although maybe not. I don't know. It could have helped you out right away. But the Ravens are good. They're still going to be able to run the ball effectively in this one. And as much as we want to talk about the Seattle defense, this Ravens defense has been incredible this season against still the 2nd-best EPA defense. And I bet if the Browns played in the Dome, would be number 1.
Yeah. I mean, they've been really good. They've been good against they've been great against the pass. They've been really good against the run too. Both of these defenses are pretty good. I think Seattle's top 10 too. So I think this game's going to be lower scoring than we think. Even though both of these offenses have shown they can score points, I think the big thing is it comes down to it again. If you're going to go after Lamar, you better get him, man. You can't let him extend plays, because as good as his coverage unit has been the last few weeks, it's not going to be good if Lamar has 5, 6, 7 seconds to throw. So I think this is going to be a fascinating game, and I think I'd lean Baltimore, but I do think Seattle has the goods here. And like you said, those outside receivers are going to be a tough test for that Baltimore secondary.
Yeah. Also, the line is -6. So I'm like, oh, maybe Baltimore should be, I don't know, maybe Vegas knows something I don't.
They win by a touchdown? Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. Every time I see one of those lines that's different, I'm like, oh, I feel like when I first started this channel, I'd be like, oh, Vegas doesn't know what they're doing. What dummy's going on over there? And then I kind of realized, oh, usually I'm the dummy there. So I don't know. Maybe Baltimore will win by 6.
It's amazing the amount of information and statistic people that they have on staff. It's interesting. Yeah, they're really good at this. I think that this is going to be a fun game though. I think this will be closer than a touchdown. I'm leaning Seattle +6 too.
My last thought before we move on. It's a longer show because of all that breakfast talk. Do you think the Seahawks were a little bit disappointed after the Leonard Williams trade when they saw Chase Young and Montez Sweat go for a 2nd and a 3rd respectively?
I think you'd have to be a little bit, but sometimes being the first guy, they got their guy. I guess that's a big thing. I don't know.
It's a different position. He plays interior, but still.
Yeah, it is. So I still think it's pretty good value, honestly. It's a little high, but at the same time, I don't think it's that bad.
Yeah, I thought it was a little bit high, but again, I'm always going to be in favor of, hey, you got a contending team, try to go for it now. Kyle, 2 teams that aren't contending, Colts, Panthers. Who do you have winning this one?
I do have the Colts. I wouldn't be shocked on an upset because Gardner Minshew, he's just fighting for his life back there at quarterback. It seems like every play, even if it's good or bad. I do think that the Colts are going to be able to run the ball. They have run the ball very well this season. And the run defense for Carolina is dead last. And not only dead last, they're dead last by a pretty significant margin. So this is a very poor run defense. I think that Jonathan Taylor and Zach Moss should be able to have a big day.
Yeah. It's interesting. I mean, I don't know. The Panthers defense looked very good last week, and it has shown flashes of looking very good. And that's what you're hoping for if you're a Panthers fan, is that this defense can continue to come along and play well. And again, Bryce Young, I thought, looked good last week as well. So last week, things are going well. They're on a winning streak here.
Listen, there are good things about this team. It's clearly not a disaster as we thought it was, but if Bryce Young continues to play better, you feel good about the season, even if it's not a good team. So that's fine. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be I think a really interesting matchup to see if they can have more success, because I don't think this Indianapolis defense is that bad either. I mean, it hasn't been awesome or anything like that, but I do think that they can have some success. So it's really tough. I don't trust either of these teams to throw the ball all that much, but I do think that it's going to come down to 1 or 2 big throws.
Yeah, it's just crazy the week that we're having where this is the 10th game selected just because of all of the stuff. Also, my brother in the chat says Zach Wilson is on the Jets, FYI. So my brother is here.
Thank you.
Yes. And just to be clear, he is not also Kyle's brother. We are not related.
Yeah, still not related. So that's good.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't have too much to add to this game. You have anything else?
No, like I said, I think the Colts are going to run all over them. That's what it'll come down to.
All right, Kyle, give me a game. 4 games left.
The Chargers at the Jets.
Chargers, Jets. Thank God this one's the Monday night game. Jets on prime time week after, or I guess Chargers on prime time and Jets on prime time. Both have a bit of a run here. Okay, I'll say this. I am legitimately interested in how Herbert's going to attack this Jets defense. We've seen good quarterbacks get destroyed by this Jets defense. Can the Chargers find a way? And I think Herbert, maybe this is the benefit here, kind of has a history of being in situations where things aren't great. One interesting stat, Chargers currently have the 5th best drop back EPA on the season. Like when they drop back, like they still have been able to move the ball, despite the fact that everyone blames Herbert for their struggles. Obviously their defense is terrible. It's the stoppable force versus the movable object here. This Chargers defense going up against the Jets offense.
So you're telling me that Justin Herbert isn't that bad?
I
are
am,
you sure?
believe it or not.
Oh man.
Yes.
Wow. This is the worst pass offense in the league. Can they beat the Chargers? I don't know. I'm not betting it. The problem is that they're not going to let Zach Wilson try and beat this defense, even though that's the way to score on this defense, because they can't cover anybody. There are probably college teams that can move the ball in this defense at this point, and they're just not going to let Zach Wilson throw the ball downfield. That's been the recipe for this team's success the last few weeks, has been minimize the risk factor in the passing game and kind of hit some big like their big plays are throwing the ball to the running back and he bounces off a guy for a 50-yard touchdown. They're not throwing the ball downfield. So yeah, I think it comes down to that, and I think Herbert should have success in this game. So yeah, I like the Chargers, but things get weird when it's the Chargers, so I don't know.
Yeah, this game, the reason why it's the 3-point spread is because there's no way this game ends up being more than 3 points with these two teams, just because of it's these two teams. One underrated, I think, thing that we haven't talked a ton about is this. The pass rush for Chargers hasn't been ideal. It just in general, the players that were supposed to be good for Chargers haven't been great. I still think Khalil Mack could be a real issue here in this one for the Jets. I mean, the Jets gave up 15 sacks to Dexter Lawrence, or 15 pressures to Dexter Lawrence last week. How do you give up 15 pressures to an interior defensive lineman in a game?
Yeah. That's not great.
Like, I feel like a replacement level pass rusher for a season might get like 20. You give up 15 to one guy in one game.
Yeah, it's not great. Look, I think it hasn't been ideal for the Chargers. Like I think Joey Bosa has been good, but the problem is they need Joey Bosa to be great, and I just don't know if he is that, right? There's a few different things. Khalil Mack obviously hasn't lived up to the expectations for the trade, so yeah, it's not a great pass rush, but they should have success in this game. But yeah, I don't know. I can't trust anything with this Chargers defense is the problem. Even if, like you said, it's against the movable object. Right. I don't know if I trust him to get stopped still.
Other people are bringing up the Monday Night Football. Zach is different. Jimmy says, is it time to say Wilson greater than Herbert? I think so. I think the answer is yes to that. Monday Night Football, Zach Wilson. Are we starting? Is he the reverse Kirk Cousins?
No.
Okay. No. All right. You're not expecting him to have another great Monday. It's so funny. He wasn't even really that great against the Chiefs.
Didn't
he was
yeah.
He was like, okay.
Yeah.
I just love that Mahomes threw 3 picks, and so everyone was like, he outdueled Mahomes, even though it was like, yeah, because Mahomes kept turning the ball over.
And he threw the ball up, and even the Monday night game against Buffalo, he wasn't good, and threw the ball up to Garrett Wilson twice, and it worked. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Don't know what's going on with Zach Wilson. Played better football. Had a great drive last week. Can't take that away from him. Let's move on. I'm going to give you a game. I'm giving you Rams Packers. A game that I feel like just a couple years ago, this would have been the marquee matchup. Oh, how the mighty have fallen here. A team that won the Super Bowl 2 years ago, a team that was the 1 seed 2 years ago. Now, Packers are somehow. Is this? I got to double check the line. This can't be right, right?
What's the line here?
I have it written as 3.5 Packers, but I probably put that in the wrong one.
Man, who keeps giving this team this kind of respect? It's not a good team. Definitely double check that.
I think I might have gotten that. But even so, no, this is correct. The Packers are 3.5-point favorites. It was so insane that I was convinced I wrote it wrong and went back and double checked. And no, it is in fact Packers 3.5 at home here.
I should have locked this game up. This is not a good team. It's not a good football team. They're not good at anything. I said this last week. What are the Packers good at? Tell me the one thing the Packers are good at.
Great stadium. I've said this before. Great stadium. Iconic. They're great at having had Vince Lombardi coach their team.
Yeah. What is great about the Packers right now?
I think the Cheeseheads are fun.
Yeah. I mean, their best player right now is what? Rashawn Gary? I mean, good
Rashawn
player.
Gary's good.
Yeah, good player. But, I mean, he's about it. This team can't cover. They just traded their best cornerback. I guess, Jair Alexander, whatever at this point. I don't think he's the same guy. This team's not good. Give me the Rams. I like the Rams. I'd bet the Rams straight up. I'd bet them definitely plus 3.5. So, I mean, it's this feels like the Rams should win it. Even though the Rams are not that convincing, I think that they're better.
Here's the better question. What do the Packers do better than the Rams right now? And I think the one thing I could say is maybe, I guess the running, is the running game better? Like that's the only thing I can even think of as like a potentially a case for the Rams. But I mean, the Rams running offense has been better. So like, I don't know. You can't really say that. I don't think there's a single thing the Packers do better than the Rams right
now. Yeah, that's probably true. Especially when they don't give Aaron Jones the ball. So I don't really think it's
cost
the
of
case.
Living. That's true. Better cost of living in Green Bay than in Los Angeles.
Well, that's what they got going for them.
Yeah,
they do have better running backs, but that's about it.
Yeah, but again, it doesn't matter if you can't block as well for them. So as a whole, that's the one thing you could argue. But yeah, probably not going to be a Packers victory. I don't know. This Jordan Love thing has just been such a disappointment, right?
It certainly felt like a letdown, but at the same time, like I thought there was a chance he'd be good, but it's a tough situation just because it's not an ideal roster.
Yeah, but at the same time, going into the season, you still had them as a 7 seed. Granted, in the NFC where it was, I don't think you had them winning more than like 9 games, but like still,
I had them going 8-9. So
okay, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I mean, but even then, like I don't. The crazy thing is their passing offense still might be the best part of their team right now. And that's the way Jordan Love's played.
And everyone's blaming Matt LaFleur for this. Like it's somehow his fault that like this is the team that he has. Yeah.
I don't know, man. It just feels like part of the reason why I picked the Packers as at 7 seed too is like I was like, okay, maybe a little leap from Wyatt, a little leap from Quay Walker, plus this defense has a bounce back season with guys healthy. And it just hasn't been better. Nothing's been better.
Yeah. We didn't talk a lot about the Rams, but I think we know who the Rams are. The thing is, the Rams feel like a good team, but I guess it's just the kind of thing where it's like you have to eventually win a football game.
Yeah. Big debate in the chat going, who do you think is more handsome, Matt LaFleur or Sean McVay?
I think Sean McVay.
You're going with McVay? I think I'd take
so.
LaFleur.
Okay, interesting. I feel like LaFleur is more like cute than hot.
I don't know. Yeah. Sean McVay looks like a Wreck-It Ralph character sometimes. I don't know. The guy's too buff for his size. He needs to grow a few inches if he's going to be shredded like that.
Jersey guys in chat said Kay Adams. All right, well, okay. I guess that's who you would prefer between.
Yeah, I picked Kay Adams too.
I didn't realize you could just do that. Just pick a woman out of the 2 options.
Yeah, Bill Belichick definitely. So that's the real answer.
Yeah, I think so. Let's move on. 2 games left. I'm going to give you one of these. Wait, no, I think I screwed up. I gave you the last one, but I don't think I should have.
No, you did. You were right.
Oh, wait,
though.
no, my notes are wrong. Yeah, you give me.
We have one game left to pick, and then we have one extra game.
Oh, okay, that's what throwing me off.
Yeah. I'm not letting not Josh Dobbs, PJ Walker be the extra game. So go ahead and pick Arizona at Cleveland.
Okay, Arizona, Cleveland. I'm picking the Browns because you know me. I am just the biggest Browns believer. I'm all in. I mean, I don't know. The Cardinals, they're going with Clayton Tune in this game. Yeah, that's why I'm picking the Browns.
Give me your Clayton Tune scouting report. What did you think of Tune?
Let me pull it up because I honestly, I believe I remember I did cover him, but I have absolutely no memory of what I thought about Clayton Tune. So he did not make my top 10 quarterback list. So not off to a great start for Clayton Tune.
Threw 70 touchdowns his last 2 years at Houston.
I think I watched a couple games of him and wasn't impressed. Is what I don't have extensive notes on Clayton Tune.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. Good college quarterback though.
Okay, well then maybe there's something. Donnie Darko and with a super chat, y'all should do some call-ins or host a blog and screen callers. Would be funny as hell to listen to. Also, Eagles secondary is Flint, Michigan water. I don't. It's an interesting idea. Maybe that's something we could do in the off season. Try to check that out.
Yeah, we definitely we definitely value our chatters. Maybe one time we could bring people on. We'll see. We'll think about it.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And again, this Cardinals offense should score 0 points against this Browns defense, especially if it rains.
Yeah. I would agree with that. Browns should beat them up. And we've seen what this passing defense for the Cardinals is. If it's Deshaun Watson, can he get going? If it's PJ Walker, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it's the Browns are better.
Yeah. We have overlap 618. I would like to call in. What is the number? This is overlap. I love how overlap always lets us know that it's overlap in the comment.
Yeah, he's got to, just to make sure. I appreciate it. We'll figure that out. Just wait.
Yeah. Jackson has to fight to pick with rain. Only the Cleveland rain, I think.
Yeah, Cleveland rain seems way too well scripted. There needs to be investigation about this.
I think so. Yeah. All of a sudden, this team that built their team to be a running offense with good defense, all of a sudden now it's raining every week. I don't know. There's got to be something going on. Yeah. Do you think they built a moat around their team to try to get more like water vapor around the stadium?
Yeah. There's something going on there. We should do it just because I want to see overlap on camera. That would be fun. I think I have more questions for overlap than he would for us. So
yeah, I think so. But I kind of like to keep the mystery going too.
Yeah. The mystery man who funds this podcast. I like it.
Yeah, the official sponsor of the On the Sideline podcast. Let's move on. One game left. Bears, Saints. So no one's picking this one. Is that right? I thought you are picking this one.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Oh, I am picking this game. Okay. Give me the Saints.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. I think my notes got all screwed up, so a lot of confusing stuff going on. But okay. Yeah. Saints feel like the right
14
right
games. So yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, give me the Saints.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, it's hard to bet on the Bears here. Donnie Darko. Also, shout out to Jackson, one of the first people I've seen that convinced me elite wide receiver play is more important than line play. Finally, some people are listening, Kyle.
Yeah, it's starting to swing that way a little bit, I think.
Yeah, I feel like it's a less hot take now than when I first gave it.
Yeah, I still feel like people go the other way when it comes to edge rushers versus corners. But I think people are starting to see the light when it comes to receivers.
Yeah, I think so. The Saints receivers looked really good last week. The Bears do not have the best defense, although they did add Montez Sweat, who, what was your thought on that trade? I kind of liked it by Chicago's mindset.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a decent trade just because it's going to be a high second round pick, but I mean, there's a pretty good chance that player is not as good as Montez Sweat, so I do like it. but yeah, I don't. He's a good player. I think he'll help. I don't know how much he's going to help this. This Jalen Johnson, Kyler Gordon, secondary all that much though. That's
Yeah.
a bit of an issue.
Yeah, Jalen Johnson demanded a trade, and the Bears just said no. So he's still stuck.
Who's taking him?
I thought. What do you mean? I thought teams would trade for Jalen Johnson.
Yeah, maybe. I guess a little bit.
Jalen Johnson, currently the third highest rated corner according to PFF right now.
Is he that good? Wow.
I don't know. I don't know if he's really that good because again, that can be fluky. But I think he's a good player.
Yeah, I do not watch the Bears and think that's the third best cornerback in football. I'm sorry.
No,
maybe I'm wrong on that one. I'll watch it a little more closely.
Ball doesn't come his way a lot.
Yeah, that's fair.
That helps. Mm-hmm. But yeah. I mean, still. I guess a correction. The Bears didn't say no. They allowed him to seek a trade, but important correction there. But didn't get the value that they were hoping for. Kind of a last minute situation, so I can understand it. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, the whole thing is Montez Sweat. They're going to pay him this offseason, right? And people say, why not just sign someone into free agency? Montez Sweat caliber players basically never hit free agency. Like there's very unique circumstances for someone like that to hit free agency. And usually when they are in that situation, like Yannick Ngakoue, who is currently somehow leading the Bears in edge rusher snaps this season. I didn't realize that, but he has nearly 400 snaps. Like that's like a lot for halfway through the season for an edge rusher. Anyway, when there was a situation where he demanded a trade, but the team that had him said like, okay, well, we're not going to just trade you for nothing, he wanted to walk away. It was at the end of his contract, but the team that had him franchise tagged him and then traded him to a different team. Like that's what would have happened with Sweat, even if he said he didn't want to stay in Washington. So
right, yeah. No, I think it's a good move. But yeah, I mean, I think overall this Saints if this Saints offense operates like it did last week, I agree with you that I think there is a chance that they should light up the Bears no problem. And if the Saints can consistently play like that offensively, they might raise up a tier in my thoughts of them, and they should win the NFC South and maybe steal a playoff game, something like that. But we got to see it a little more consistently. We'll see if it happens again, but it definitely was a step in the right direction. So we'll see on the Saints team.
Yeah, I was checking to see if Justin Fields is going to be, if there's a chance he could be playing this week. So I was just Googling it. It seems like all the articles are people like saying that his thumb injury isn't adding up. So I don't know what's going on there, but there's drama between how real his thumb injury is.
I don't know, man.
Isn't that just like the most like Chicago Bears story?
Yeah. Are they allowed to have a good quarterback? Is that like, have we checked the rules again to make sure that's like not a thing?
I haven't checked the rules. I assumed that they were allowed to, and are choosing not to.
It's a choice.
Yes, I think so. I think that they, because they got to win a defense.
Yeah, you got to win. That makes sense. Yeah, that checks out.
In hindsight, they probably should have drafted Mahomes.
Really? You think so?
I think so. I think it's worked out pretty poorly for them.
Yeah. I feel like Deshaun was the guy. Deshaun was the guy I was saying it was insane that he wasn't getting drafted.
Yeah.
And like obviously Mahomes had the talent, but I don't think anyone was really looking at him at the top 5. Like I don't think that was ever really a talking point that season.
Right. I mean, it was because he was although he was taken before Deshaun Watson. So the Chiefs were on it.
Yeah, but I felt like it was controversial at the time that he was taken before Watson.
It was,
if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Obviously, the Watson thing, hindsight now, is not looking as good, but there were some good years there.
Yeah. Interesting with everything going on there. Saints, you want to be a contender. This game, you should probably blow out the opposing team. Kyle, let them know where they can find us on Twitter before we head out.
Make sure to follow us on Twitter. That is at Jackson Kruger. Make sure to follow me at by Kyle Gronin, and make sure to follow the account page that is at On the Sideline JK. That is at On the Sideline JK.
Of course, if like audio only podcast, anywhere you get your podcast, just search On the Sideline Podcast. It should be available there, so you can download and listen to that if you want. I didn't get your thoughts on also. What were your thoughts on the Chase Young trade?
Good trade for San Francisco. I mean, it's good value. I think that's very much the case, but it's I think it's the question I had for San Francisco was that the position they needed? But at the same time, if your pass rush is that nasty, maybe that helps the secondary. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, and they could use a pass rusher. Yeah, I like it. I think it's I think it's again. There's a real chance he might get they gave up a third round comp pick. They didn't even give up their third round pick. It's a comp pick they're giving up. They might get a third round comp pick back if Chase Young gets a big payday in free agency.
Yeah. Good trade.
Yeah, the work. I think so. For Washington, you got to be disappointed with how this went, but it is what it is. I also don't hate the idea from Washington to say let's not pay $15 million on our edge rushers.
Yeah. Why is Robert Rivera still there?
I have no idea. He seems like a good guy.
Yeah, he's been a good guy for years. He can also be a good guy in retirement.
That's true. Can also do that. Yeah, and Kyle, Rangers could win the World Series tonight.
Yeah, 1 game left.
1 game left. You're already saying it's it's done deal.
1 win left. Like they need 1 more win. I don't know. It'll be interesting. Is it Ollie's playing?
I don't think. No, I think he's out for the series.
The whole series? Oh wow. Although it didn't affect them dropping 10 in the first.
I think they'll be okay.
So yeah, they should win it. Maybe it goes back to Arlington. I don't know, but it feels like that was a statement win.
Jersey guy says, "Are you Rays fans?" Yes, me and my brother Kyle are also big Rays fans.
Definitely not a Rays fan, but it is what it is. Red Sox didn't make the playoffs, so
yeah, the Rays debatably didn't either. But that's a story for another day. Kyle,
do you feel better if Texas wins the World Series?
Not really. I mean, a little bit, I guess. But the Rays played so terrible in those games. You can't even it wouldn't have been one thing if we lost in a close series, but they played so bad. You can't say it. Well, Rangers were good. Yeah, they were good, but still, the Rays should have done better than what they did.
Yeah, I agree. So
yeah,
looking forward to anything else? No, I think I'm all looked forward to. Let's do it.
Okay. All right. Yes. Thank you to everybody again in the chat. We appreciate it. Or if you're just watching or listening after the fact, we appreciate you too. Until next time, have a good one.
Peace.